funny story. So when I first heard that there was interest from Sunderland, I was on a dog walk with my now wife, but I actually was in a porter cabin because I needed the loo, and my phone was off. So my agent tried ringing me all the night before, messaged me all morning, but I never got anything through. So I turned my phone on and I got about, I don't know, 15 messages and about 5 or 6 missed calls going, "What are you doing?" So I rang him back straight away going, "What? I'm on a dog walk. I'm actually on the loo, but I'm on a dog walk. What do you need?" And he goes, "Mate, Sunderland are interested." And I genuinely thought he was having me on. I remember as well, he goes, "Mate, this is happening, you need to start getting your head around it." And I was like, okay. Yeah, it was very surreal. Like I can remember it genuinely like it was yesterday, because it was such a incredible moment.
And he's headed in by It's 1-0 to Sunderland.
5-6 hours in the car. I had my car packed full of all my stuff. I came to the training grounds on the Monday, did my medical. The doc was like, "Have you ever had an injury before?" I was like, no, everything's fine, I'm fine, honestly. Yeah, as soon as I got through that, I think I then signed everything was completed, and yeah, I was one happy man. They were like, "Do you want to go down to the stadium?" I was like, "Silly question, of course I do." So jumped straight in the car, went straight down to the stadium. I was desperate to see it. I've only seen it on Premiership years. So got down there, saw the stadium, and no words needed. It's still some sight to this day. 200 games in, I still get the goosebumps as I did on my first day.
So Unai makes the run, and it's Luke Unai who puts Sunderland in front. And within 10 minutes, he scored what could be a crucial goal.
It was kind of just a whirlwind. It all happened so fast, from being at Wycombe to then starting the first game of season here. Excitement, nerves, but just a mixture of them two as high as them emotions can be. I was so excited, and I was like a little bit nervous at the same time. Really wanted to do well. All my family were coming up. I was buzzing. I didn't really sleep too much. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So yeah, I think every emotion possible went through my head. The weekend, the night before, there's me there just stepping onto the pitch. So there was my kind of first taste of playing in front of all these fans, and it didn't get off to a great start. But I've somehow made it to 200 plus games now. So this game was probably the reason why I'm still here today. And I know that sounds a bit funny because I got taken off at half time, but it's the lessons, the lows, and the takeaways from this game that's I always say is the reason why I'm still putting on the red and white to this day, and loving it and enjoying my football. It's because I failed at the start, and I learned a lot from the experience, that I'm a better person and player because of it. I didn't play for 4 months, couldn't get in the team. I just couldn't get things right, and the first team coach, John Potts, pulled me in here and sat me on a green box right here and was like, "Luke, what's going on?" I just remember the conversation. It changed everything for me, where he was like, "You're just trying to be someone you're not." I think I made the mistake of, there was so much quality around that I tried to be like everybody else and forgot who I was. And he recognised that after a friendly behind closed doors here. Pulled me in here, sat me down, and we just had a heart-to-heart for about half an hour. And that was the turning point for me, where the next day in training, I just remembered to do what I do best.
Change it over.
I used to spend probably in my first couple of months, when I wasn't in the team, just in here by myself with the goalie coach. We used to spend hours in here. I wasn't playing, so we tried working on every part of the game possible. So when the time did come where I got my opportunity again, I'll be ready to take it. And do you know what? The work soon paid off when I got my first goal for the club against Shrewsbury away. A moment I will never forget. But it was quite funny the way it panned out, because I think in the build up to the Shrewsbury game, I wasn't playing or involved, so I ended up doing probably way too many hours in here with Jimmy doing the extra work. So when I came on, I was shattered, and you can see that from, I think from my Shrewsbury goal, I picked the ball up around here. My first touch was that heavy. I think it went about 15 yards. My next touch was a tackle. So then I ended up tackling the guy. I ended up then setting it to Gucci, I think. Gucci then played me in. I somehow still had the strength because my legs were I was just knackered. I've gone to then bury it into the bottom left. I think I've shanked it into the bottom right. And that moment, as you can just see in my face, was just pure elation as well as relief as well. So I think I can thank the barn for my debut goal and the start of my Sunderland career. Do you know what, since the day I joined, people have always been lovely. You know, getting to know people, seeing how much it means to them, it kind of just gives you more fuel to do well on the weekends, because there's so many people behind you, so many people rooting for you, and it's special. I never got that that volume of supporters anywhere else, and to have that responsibility on our shoulders week in, week out is immense pride, I'd say. That's the way I see it. It's pretty incredible.
Plays it back to O'Nien. Oh! They've already got to win it. First home here for Sunderland, and he's driven it in from the edge of the penalty area. Fantastic. To the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, so weathered the very long storm of you know, being sidelined for 3 months. Didn't make the squad at Coventry away, which was a big kind of low for me at the time. Then I finally got my break. I got my first goal for Sunderland at Shrewsbury, and then I started to get a bit more kind of trust. I got put on a little bit more. I was kind of, instead of being not being a U sub, I was the third sub, then the second sub. And then I came on at Barnsley, very quickly missed a chance, head in the turf right by that post, and probably should have stayed there. But yeah, I remember coming on missing, going, you don't get many opportunities obviously to score at this stadium in front of all these fans, and I've blown it. I think it was about 5 minutes later, we broke down the right hand side, it's come into George, the skipper. I thought he was going to reverse it to me. Thank God he didn't. Pass it to Geeds, and then Geeds has given me the easiest goal that you will ever get. And you can kind of, you can see how happy I am. You know, you've got to accept where you are, but you've got to realise this isn't kind of your final destination. Me getting dragged off live on Sky at half-time, that's not my final destination. That doesn't define me as a player or person. It was my temporary situation. I worked through that, and I've had the best years of my career in the last 3-4 years. You know, this stadium means a lot to people in many different ways. Like it's people's homes, it's people's haven, it's people's, I know, place to come and express themselves. I don't know, it means so much for so many different reasons, for so many different people. For me, you know, it's not just a stadium where I come out and I kick a ball. It's a reminder that, you know, things aren't always going to go your way. You're going to be down in the dumps. You're going to feel like the world's against you at the time. And I think it's a reminder that that's okay to be there. And this place is a reminder that there's better days ahead. You don't know when. You know, this club knows that more than anyone else. Remember, it was a Saturday, played the game, I was about to go to bed. My missus turned around to me, I'll never forget this quote. She said, "Luke, go get some sleep, we could be in for a long night." And I was like, nice. So within 2 minutes, I put my head down on the pillow, went to fall asleep, and she screamed at me, "What are you doing? If I'm not sleeping, no one's sleeping." So I got straight back up again, and within an hour of that, we headed to the hospital. That's the doors that I came out with little Jazzy in her car seat. I remember it, it's clear as day. We actually had loads of rain, and the day she was born, sunshine. Yeah, and then we pulled out here, and generally, the proudest moment of my life that will never be topped is we pulled up to these traffic lights here, red as they are now. And I remember sitting in the car, I looked into my rear mirror and I could see my now wife, at the time fiance, looking at my little girl in the, I just remember watching them both in the rear view mirror and thinking that was just it's the clearest photo in my head, just seeing Georgia look at Jazz in the mirror, and I just thought, wow, life was never going to be the same, and only for the better from that moment. And it's like I took a photo of that memory in my head, and every time I look in that mirror I can just see them two, little Jazzy 1 day old. So yeah, before the Chef Wed game, I didn't know there was going to be a big display. The fire, tell you what, the heat from that fire is powerful. You know, it's, yeah, you had the Black Cats. You can see there, I'm looking around just going, wow, packed house. Listen, me 3-4 years ago, I would have tried to be game faced, stay serious, stay focused, but me now, I take it all in, and I love that. I would see pressure as a hindrance maybe when I first joined. Now I just see it as a privilege. I know every single person in the stadium would give their left and right arm to swap positions, so I make sure that I do them proud. I'll do what they would do. I know they would all take it in. I know they would give everything. So I reciprocate that by taking in everything, appreciating the turnout, and you know what we produce in terms of the Black Cats and the fire and everything like that. I take it in, and I make sure I put that into my performance. So you can see as I'm coming out the tunnel, just the smile on my face, and I'm taking it all in, what they do for us, and also not just what they do for us on a game day, the memories they've created, not just for me but for my family and my little girl as well. Like stepping out there, hearing the cheers, hearing people come up to you, talk about the playoffs, talk about Wembley. And these are memories that will last a lifetime, and it's only produced because of them. You know, players, we step out there, listen, we do it for ourselves, we do it for our family, but we do it for these guys. You know, every young kid, adults, grandparents, they've come here. You know, there's fans. I met a fan the other day, and they were 90 plus years of age, and they've been supporting it since they were a little girl. And doing it for them is just as important. You know, they've been through it all. They've been to the old stadium, they've been to this stadium, they've been the highs, they've been the lows. You know, we do it for them. When I joined here, okay, I joined as a player wanting to do better for myself. But then as you realise what Sunderland Football Club is, you bring on everyone, or they bring you on, more importantly, and then you want to do it for them, because you learn more about the city of Sunderland, and you realise it's not about you anymore. It's about the city of Sunderland, and we step out and we try to produce for them. And when it doesn't work out, listen, if it hurts, of course it does, but that's the motivation to go work harder, to put it right, to then produce the magic days like Wembley. The feeling before this Wembley was just pure, and I genuinely mean this, optimism from the boys. They were adamant that they were going to win, every single one of them. Me, on the other hand, I was a nervous wreck, because not only have I, you know, carrying the weight, as of many people do, of having 2 losses and a loss in the playoff final, it's also against my former team, which, you know, I still and always will have so much respect for. So even though every single one of the lads had just pure optimism for the day, me inside, I was a little bit of a wreck. So I found ways to kind of deal with that, to cope with it. I built up a list of reasons why we would win, to change my mindset, to change my thinking, and to, you know, to change the story in my head, to kind of gain an element of control. So instead of letting my mind wander, I started to build a list of reasons why we were going to win. I did the run-in, 15 games unbeaten, we're just going to make it 16. The actual team would just, it was really good to see that they were just, I always talked about Alex Pritchard, I kept saying after every win, this is it, this is it. And when you keep hearing that, you start to believe it in your head, and you start to add to it. Yeah, so walking out this time, it was a different person in terms of me. Like I've been through a lot. I'm more experienced, I'm more knowledgeable. The team's evolved, the team's changed. So it's a completely different Luke that walked out in the playoff final at Charlton. You know, playing it now, look at the red and white. I think I've just spotted even someone in my family, I'm giving them a wave. So the national anthem came on, and generally, I could have cried. I was like, you can't be the first person. The emotion I felt when the national anthem came on was immense. And I remember just, the video came on, and I think I looked around the whole I know people sometimes I just remember looking around the whole stadium and going, this is incredible. And I think there's a video of me just looking around, just taking it all in, looking at my family, singing it, and the emotion I felt, the pride I felt was just huge. You knew what was about to unfold, the game, what could be there, and that with the family all being there, with the intensity from the crowd, the national anthem, the pride and the emotion I felt was, it's impossible to even describe it. It was just immense. Yes, obviously it's never won until the whistle goes. You know, you've seen late comebacks, we've done late comebacks, and we've had the heartbreak before. But again, with that heartbreak comes knowledge. I generally feel this club will do well in the years to come. Whoever's here is because we spent 4 years in League One. Because that pain and that hurt is huge lessons from it. Like the biggest lessons, like when I got taken off at half time, I had the biggest lessons from it that made me the player I am today and the reason why I love going out there. And in the same way, we spent 4 years in League One. That pain teaches you so many lessons, and lessons that we took into this Wembley game. There's so much more than just a 90-minute game of football. There's way more to it, and that history, them lessons, they were with us in this game, and it was one of the reasons why we won it. I knew I'd get on well with this support base when they cheer a tackle like it's a goal. You know, that is me. Probably because I don't score many goals. So when I make this tackle here, I think there was about 45,000 people in the stadium tackling it with me. And yeah, I just let out all the emotion in me. I think that was one of the moments where I thought, we've done it here. Just one step closer to that trophy that me, Sunderland, all my teammates were just desperate to get their hands on. And it gives me goosebumps talking about it. I'm not going to lie, I've watched it a few times. Told you it's a good song. There's the team. Go on, Skip. Alright, that feeling there was, if I could bottle it up, I remember looking down, the family were below, and it was just a sea of red. Look at that. The losses at Wembley, when I had that real troubled time for 3-4 months when I wasn't in the squad, was in the stands, didn't play. You know, you doubt yourself, you doubt whether you've reached your limit and you can't make it here. You read every comment on social media saying, he's rubbish, can't play this position, and then you find a way through it, and then you have a moment like that where you lift a trophy, and it's in history. No one can ever take that feeling away from any of us, and you know, I just have immense pride just looking back on that, and it made so many people happy. And when I go down the seafront and people still talk about it, and it's the start of some people's Sunderland journey, they become fans because of it, and people that have seen the club for 80, 90 plus years, you know, it meant so much to so many people, including myself and my family, and yeah, I will never forget any of my appearances at Wembley, but especially my 4th attempt.